This has been a night about exploring consciousness. We've had exploring consciousness from the level of neuroscience and experiments in the lab, the introduction of ideas and preferences through subliminal flashes of messaging. We've had the exploration of consciousness through psychedelic facilitators, if you will. And I want to explore consciousness a little bit through the study of patterns of behavior, social behavior. Myself and Mr. Simmons are working on a new off-Broadway show that's set to start in November. The title will be Ingenious Nature, and it's going to be about the evolutionary basis of human behavior, and specifically some of the quirkier things that we do that we don't know that we do. People who live in areas of the world that have higher levels of pathogens, higher levels of infectious disease, tend to have more xenophobic personalities on average than in other places. That there is a sort of behavioral change that can be associated with our immune system, probably an evolved one, which is about the novel people in our environment are a danger if they carry pathogens, but an opportunity if they don't. So one of the suggestions is that the psychological phenomenon in humans of social conservatism or xenophobia, fear of the unknown, fear of the other, could actually be associated with germs. Now, I'm going to take a wild guess and say that since we're in a blue state, most people here are not the types to attend Tea Party rallies, although there might be some Tea Partiers here, and hopefully this will help to shine an insight on the difference between the kinds of people who would rather have a more sort of familiar, constrained, conservative surrounding or environment, and the kinds of people who are more addicted to novelty. So then I was searching around for sort of cultural correlates for this idea of the behavioral immune system, and we found this song. It's from the Scopes monkey trial. So in the 1920s, it was illegal to teach evolution in high schools, and a teacher called John Scopes did so, and he was put on trial, and then all this country music started coming out in support of the Christianity defenders who were persecuting John Scopes. So let's just play this example of a song that was made during the Scopes trial.
Now the monkey swings by the end of his tail as he flies from tree to tree. Well, there may be monkeys, some of you guys, but there ain't no monkey in me. And there ain't no bugs on me. There ain't no bugs on me. There may be bugs on some of you bugs, but there ain't no bugs on me.
The suggestion is that the fear of bugs can make you not only afraid of unfamiliar and exotic people, but also unfamiliar and exotic ideas. And perhaps conservatism, intellectual conservatism, or anti-science thinking, could also be driven by some of these same instincts. Now, not to put too fine a point on it, but the next verse of this song is, well, Pa, he joined the Ku Klux Klan, and Ma, she lost her sheet. So what we have is xenophobia, fear of parasites, and anti-evolution sentiments in one song, a real song. So I thought the only way to deal with this situation is to do a remix of the song and try to get everyone here to sing it together. So I want just to do this one time, just so that everyone's familiar with the chorus, so when it comes in during the song, everyone's on board, all right? So let's do this all together. Well, there ain't no bugs on me. There ain't no bugs on me. There may be bugs on some of you mugs, but there ain't no bugs on me. It's a little tepid. That's because you guys are all liberals and you can't feel it. So the way this is going to work is I'm from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. I come from one of the places where the breeding ground of liberals is more intense. It's where all the draft dodgers went in the 70s. That was the generation my parents were part of, although they were immigrants from not from this country, from other countries. But, you know, I'm going to represent the highly mutated evolutionary novelty known as an uber liberal. And you guys are going to represent the sort of naturally selected, sensible conservatism that protects the psychology of individuals against those kinds of pathological exoticisms. And we're going to have a conversation and try to meet some middle ground so that we can understand each other. See, reach across the aisle. I can see this being very useful in the upcoming election. Let's drop that beat. There ain't no bugs on me, just on you liberal freaks who Who says science and religion will never harmonize? When science explains religion, then we'll have a compromise. And not the specific magical claims. I'm talking about the relevant psychological states. Like, for instance, why is Darwinism such a toxic proposition for conservative religions, but not for liberal religions like Episcopalianism? See, it's not the religion, it's the conservatism. So what's the difference between conservatives and liberals? Social psychologists have a definition that's simple. Liberals, like myself, are just higher in a stable personality trait known as openness to experience. We think novelty's great. New people, new places, new types of food, new lovers whenever someone inspires the mood. And it might seem like this life is a dream, but novelty is the place where parasites breed, which gives us a delicious little testable prediction for the scientific method to consider. Namely that openness to experience and liberalism should be influenced by microorganisms in your environment. And does the evidence agree? Man, you wouldn't believe how much your political leanings can be predicted by the local threat of infectious disease. So all my social conservatives sing, well, there ain't no bugs on me. Sing along. There ain't no bugs on me. There may be bugs on some of you mugs, but there ain't no bugs on me. Everybody, there ain't no bugs on me. I'm a liberal, ain't no bugs on me. Gun control, maybe bugs on some of you mugs, but there ain't no bugs on me. Yeah, the modern liberal is a recent mutant, a novelty-seeking novelty of evolution. But don't you start feeling too much like the X-Men, because I could test your openness with targeted questions. For instance, imagine your family dog dies and you memorialize the poor old guy by eating him stir-fried. Are you on the wrong side of a moral equation? And if no one is harmed, why? As a committed liberal, I can see both sides. But I think everybody has a bit of a conservative bias, because those who don't get naturally deselected. Like, for instance, did you know that pregnant women are measurably more xenophobic in their first trimester because the fetus gives them an immunocompromised system? So next time you listen to Sarah Palin or Glenn Beck or get vexed, like, fuck these little hate-monger insects, just think of it as an immune system imbalance. Like a pregnant woman who pukes every time she eats salad. And next time you worry about, homosexuality in Uganda being oppressed, or like oppression in Palestine, just think of it as an immune system disorder. So let's all sing along to the words of wisdom. This is the germ theory of conservatism. Well, there ain't no bugs on me. Sing along. There ain't no bugs on me. I killed your dog. There may be bugs on some of your mugs, but there ain't no bugs on me. Come on. There ain't no bugs on me. Immigration. There ain't no bugs on me. There may be bugs on some of your mugs, but there ain't no bugs on me. Ain't no bugs on me, just on you liberal freaks, fucking New Yorkers in Manhattan. You guys are open to anything, aren't you? We need traditional values, traditional family values. Thank you. Give it up for Mr. Simmons. He made all the music. So another strange social behavioral phenomenon that I thought I'd try to approach with this ingenious nature concept is the phenomenon of white rappers. Weird one, right? The only way I could think to do this is go into some of the psychology of childhood development, and also the sort of prisoner's dilemma, sort of arms races that organisms naturally get themselves into, and try to interpret my own psychology from the beginning to see why it was I was so obsessed with gangster rap from the start, and how that ended me in this strange place like this. So.
Ghetto boy.
Yeah, from a young white Canadian wannabe G's perspective, baby. To be a gangster or not to be a gangster? That is the question. Do you find it offensive or do you find it impressive? Well, now I find it offensive, but if I flip back to the exact moment my own hormonal clock ticked over into adolescence, I was like, God damn, I don't understand these rules, man. It's like they're just designed to hold me back. But gangster rap, yeah, that seems cool. Yeah, that Ice Cube attitude and 2 Live Crew, like, me so horny. Yeah, me too. I just want to screw everything that moves. But these high school chicks, is it me or do they only like guys who are huge dicks? I mean, I'm looking for role models and all I can find is Bruce Willis and Slick Rick. And my parents want me to plan for the future, man. Fuck that. What I need is some swagger to compete with these bastards for some female attention. I'm not trying to get a teenager pregnant, but at least me and my henchmen need to be seen as contenders. And these gangsters on TV, man, they could be our secret pico reppin'. I mean, I'm not a killer, but I roll with some pot dealers, so yeah, I've got a rebellious side. And I bet a lot of these guys who live in villas are about as real as the zombies in Thriller, right? I mean, obviously I was vanilla, but I had this feeling, this visceral attraction to rap. It was like I just had to listen. Plus I was an avid mimic. So I guess my gangster obsession made me a poster boy for the evolution of self-deception. The evolution of self-deception.
It's a state of mind that dictates reality.
So what up, G? Are you a real G or a studio G? How many people would I have to body for you to believe? None, really. It's a front, really. I just want you to feel me. In reality, I'm a civilian. But if I'm being threatened, then hell yeah, I could be aggressive. I'll fight you straight up, unless you come at me with a weapon. Because weapons are the democratization of physical strength. So I'll pack a weapon too, except I'll fill it with blanks. I'll just use it for threat displays. But then if I get tested, I'll get disgraced. So it's time to load up the tech and spray motherfuckers like Starface. Yeah, Tony Montana explodes some shells. My threat level is more impressive the less I know myself, cause these dogs can smell fear. So I'm fearless, hell yeah, I'm a 12-year-old gangster. You better steal well clear. And that's how you go from a well-intentioned adolescent male to a thrill-seeking statistic in jail. But hip-hop culture isn't about causing harm for no reason. In a way, it's an artistic arms control agreement. I thought it was survival of the fittest, but it turned out to be survival of the illest lyrics in the minds of listeners. So now my ex-gangster obsession gets exapted to something less graphic, like trading Gladiator for X Factor. So instead of belly aching on the generation gap, why don't you try banging some gangster rap and see if it takes you back? Ghetto
It's the same.
Right, let's cut that there. Yeah. Strange phenomenon. When I was 13 to 15, 17, 18, obsessed with not only gangster rap, but also samurai movies, action movies, westerns, any situation where there were a lot of rogue males using violence to resolve their conflicts to gain high status, basically. But my obsession with this concept seems to be waning the older I get. Some people might say it's because I'm getting smarter. Others might say it's because my testosterone is dropping. But what you would find in general is that that phenomenon over the life of a male, the obsession with gangsterism that generally seems to dissipate over your life, that seems to be happening in historical time as well. Has anybody here read The Better Angels of Our Nature by Steven Pinker? Yeah, one person. Everyone else should read it. It's amazing. Basically, the idea is the world is less violent today than it was 20 years ago. It's less violent than it was 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 500 years ago, 50,000 years ago. There's a continuous and steady decline in violence. Now, I might be nostalgic, reminiscing about how cool I thought violence was once, but I can understand why it's better for it not to be around in general. And I think one of the reasons this is happening is because women are asserting their choice more strongly. Women aren't taking the bullshit anymore, all right? They're saying, I'm not trying to be around this. If you're gonna act that way, you know, you're gonna get scolded at the very least. So this is our nostalgia track about what it used to be like when we were teenagers, and also, you know, like 500 years ago.
Back in the day, I used to scrap, I'm not a thug anymore. But some days I just wanna be the man again.
Back in the day, I used to scrap, I'm not a thug anymore. But some days I just wanna be the man again.
Back in the day, I used to scrap, I'm not a thug anymore. But some days I just wanna be the man again.
Back in the day, it seemed like every angry teen was talking about packing a shank and getting cream. What happened to the gangster lean? Eric B. and Rakim said, what happened to peace? Now they saying, what happened to strength? Oh, the women want girth now? Shit, what happened to length? Sperm count going down, so we packing some blanks. And they laughing all the way to the bank. Man, things done changed. Where is all the violence gone? It seems like people living 3 times as long. Life just goes on. It's like survival of the strong got swallowed by a Hobbesian Leviathan. And why not? Shit, I ain't trying to abolish it. Women dominate men in college. I acknowledge it. So next you're gonna take over science and politics and business. But I guess I'm just kind of nostalgic. I mean, at least fighting men know who they are. You meet a soldier, he can show you some scars. But muscle can't win a contest over some jobs. So now we're just good for opening jars.
I used to be the man. Time has gone on ahead of me. My strong days, but I'm still holding on.
Moving on, I was a man. Time has not been so good to me in my hands, but I'm still holding on. I was the man. Man, what a fucking waste of upper body strength this is. I could dangle it for women like I'm angler fishing. I got a voice full of bass, listen, ain't it pimpin'? But it came from male-on-male competition, and I'm afraid that's a thing of the past. I mean, things fall apart, don't be thinking they last, but I keep looking for some answers when I listen to rap, like digging for the missing link in the grass. So where the gangsters at? The males baring their teeth, staring at weak opponents like I dare you to speak. The menace to societies in American me's, not these wealthy, frail, weak self-parodies. I mean, things done changed. Can you believe it? Even the frickin' crime rate seems to be dipping, and some people give police credit, but I'm with Stephen Levitt. High-risk pregnancies are being rejected now that women decide to control their own fertility, so murder and poverty drop, but not sociability. What happened to all the killers on killing sprees? Instead of fighting now, we all show civility. Oh, you're also civil and calm. This many Homo sapiens in one place 1,000 years ago would have been mayhem. Murder, murder, murder. Kind of a beautiful thing though, isn't it? Oh wait, I think we need to celebrate it like this. Back in the day it was a man's world until it got taken over by girls. Until it got taken over by girls. Until it got taken over by who? When I say until it got taken over by, y'all say girls. See, back in the day it was a man's world until it got taken over by. Until it got taken over by. Management's getting taken over by. Colleges are getting taken over by. All the ladies in the house say, we run this. We run this. We run this. All the ladies in the house say, we run this. We run this. I mean, y'all run this. All the fellas in the house say, yes, dear. All right, that's us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Give it up for Mr. Simmons on the cuts. Plus, he made all the beats as well.